Hey there, sports fans. This is the ECG Golf Club. Welcome to the Weekly Hackers Podcast.
Now watch this drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, golfers of all ages, Ashman here. Welcome to the ECG Golf Club Hackers Podcast. Like I said, I'm Ashman. Joining us today, the club president of the ECG, Damian Griffiths.
Good evening, Ash. Good evening, Chris. Great to be here.
Good to see you again, brother. And of course, the analyst, the Bursar, Christopher Zook. Welcome.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good to be with you again.
Great to be here again. It's I'm going to bring something up, actually, a little bit off track to start the whole thing off with. Why not? I've come up with this new thing called the we'll call it the SAM rating system, Swamp Ass Meter. Currently here on the Gold Coast, it's very swampy. I did play a game of golf on the weekend, and the SAM meter was sitting around that 90s. 90% out of 100 of getting a swamp ass, which one of our crew on the social media posted some images this week you might have seen about some ECG swamp ass. But anyway, I'll move it along. Damian, some important messages from you, brother.
Firstly, just acknowledging I'm joining from a what we call Warramai country in Newcastle. And great to be here. Lovely evening. Just speaking of the excessive sweat, I did
the SAM. What are you hitting? SAM?
A social pickleball on Monday night for the first time, and it was officially the most humid evening, I believe, on record in Sydney.
Really?
And I was literally saturated from shoes to T-shirt, soaking wet.
Wow. That's like a 99.5 SAM.
Yeah. Loved pickleball, though. Not as much as golf, but love pickleball. Love a bit of pickleball.
Nice one. Chris, what's been happening, mate? You've been playing this week? You playing the weekend? What's been happening?
I was blessed on the golf front. I was able to get out twice. Got out on Saturday with some of my fellow ECG golf club members. I got up to Linwood, played around with Ran, Isaac, and the Prince. So we just played some Ambrose. Didn't play too well. And then managed to head down to the Ridge with a couple of my birdie buddies from work and got a cheeky 9-hole in there as well. So it was a good weekend of golf for myself.
Was that Stonecutters?
Sorry, Damo, go ahead.
Sorry, Skip. Was that Stonecutters?
No, not Stonecutters. The Ridge. The Ridge. So
the Ridge.
The Ridge or the Ridges, but no, it's a nice course.
Very good. Where is
packed? Whereabouts is that? Just south Sydney in Sutherland Shire.
Nice.
So, yeah, nice spot. Nice spot.
Very good.
I myself managed to play around at my favourite course, Palmer Colonial, here on the Gold Coast. SAM meter was about 94, 94 out of 100. Shot 88, shot a nice round. Had 2 holes, and a couple of balls in the drink. It was my first round back since that Southport Open we played, Dame.
Yes.
And the first round back since I've been walking with a severed Achilles tendon. I actually did really well, so it felt really good. No different to the swing. Yeah, lovely course. The course, yeah, man, it was. I played well. The driver's going nice and straight at the moment. And my chipper, we're going to talk about the chippers later on. Get onto it. Love that chipper. But, I had a great little round. What about you, Dame? Did you play? You played pickleball?
I did get a hit in this week, just pickleball this week, but hopefully get out onto Newcastle Golf Course in the next week or so. But
nice.
Did you stick to the seat in your buggy, given the high? Was it that kind of?
Oh, I think once that SAM meter gets over 85, you've got a lot of things start happening.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough when you stick to the seat.
And when you're wearing, those cotton chinos, they're a recipe for disaster, aren't they? When that SAM meter's up 85% upwards, and you're sitting down those plastic golf cart seats, not good.
That's all the chafing.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, got one of the smartest guys in golf sitting on this podcast right now with Zook. I do know there's a couple of members of the ECG over in the States right now. I believe they're at Phoenix. They're going to be watching the waste management this week. Hopefully we can get a little live cross to them. And I believe they're going to be at the next tournament the following week as well.
The Genesis.
The Genesis as
Wow.
well. So
How cool is that?
boys, next week on episode 4.
The
I've got a
podcast
couple-
goes international. Ash.
It's going hopefully goes international. I've got 3 people, 3 really good little letters to read out a little bit later on. If you want to join the conversation, you can get us on Instagram at ECG Hackers. You can find us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Same thing, at ECG Hackers. Or you can email us, ask the president at ecghackers@gmail.com. But you join the conversation. We'd love to chat with you. We don't take golf too seriously. We do love it, but you know, and it's anybody's game. Let's move on to the analyst himself. He's got some news you want to talk through. So, Zook, over to you, brother.
Cheers, Ash. Yeah, it's been a bit of a busy week on and off the golf course. And there's a few things I wanted to talk through and get your thoughts on. Perhaps I might start with some of the off-the-course elements, particularly some of the news that came to light today in respect of the PGA. If you recall last week, the big announcement was the deal struck with Strategic Sports Group and the money they were going to inject into the PGA and the establishment of a new entity called PGA Tour Enterprises, which was for profit. And in amongst all of that news was the announcement of potential equity to be provided to PGA Tour members. So this afternoon, some news has come to light around what that equity may well look like. Posting on the Australian Golf Digest website was an article outlining some information which came to light as Golf Digest were able to get their hands on a memo issued by the PGA Tour Commissioner. Within that memo, it outlined an initial equity injection that the tour was looking to provide members of around $930 million. So not a small amount. But as always, the devil's in the detail, and that $930 million is to be broken up into 4 groups. And that first group is to receive $750 million in aggregate equity, and that will be granted to 36 players based on career performance, past 5-year performance, and player impact. So
approximately 20 million, is that right? About 20 million
about
each?
that. So when you look at that and compared to some of the money that the likes of Rahm and some of the other defectors got, it doesn't quite stack up. So that was interesting. And I don't know if you, and I think Ash, you saw some of the comments that Scotty Scheffler made as part of his media commitments in relation to the Waste Management Open that came to light today. And I'll just read from an ESPN article which captured some of the his quotes. And so if you just be patient with me as I read, but this is Scotty Scheffler. He said that we remained loyal to a tour that was loyal to us. I, as in Scotty Scheffler, built my entire career here on the PGA Tour, and I wasn't willing to leave it. I dreamt of playing on this tour. Some of the guys that left, maybe it wasn't for them, but I think if they want a pathway back, then there should be one. But it definitely shouldn't just be coming back in the first week that they want to come back and play. There should be some sort of caveat to them getting back on tour. So with those 2 pieces of news, in terms of the discrepancy in the dollars and some of the attitudes around some of the key players, Scotty Scheffler being the number 1 player in the world, I don't think we're any closer to getting a resolution between the PGA and LIV divide. I'm interested in your thoughts, Damo, whether you think we're any closer, and if you don't think we are, what steps do you think are needed to bring the tour and LIV together?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it, Chris, does it? If the number 1 golfer who's on the PGA Tour is making comments like that, it seems to me that there's a long way off from any peace deal. I feel some sympathy for him personally, but I know that's not always a popular view. I think there's a lot of LIV golf fans out there, but I guess the other thing is, I can't help but get a bit moral and ethical about it. We're talking about too much money here, really. People, I can appreciate that sports people, these guys are elite, and not many people make their way to this kind of high-level profession, and they should be valued for that and paid well, don't get me wrong. But when we're starting to talk in hundreds of millions of dollars, that's like the size of small country economies and stuff. So
yeah,
it doesn't sit well with me morally and ethically when we start getting into hundreds of millions of dollars is probably my take on it all.
I got a question for you, Chris. I want to get onto what Scotty Scheffler said about getting back into the tour if they wanted to come back. But are the majors, is the US Masters owned by the USPGA? Is that
the Masters is completely its own thing. That's Augusta and that's separate and they kind of have their own rule book. And
do they need what? Because Joaquin Neiman, when he won LIV the other day, and I've seen him play 3 times now, and I saw him live in Brisbane. Beautiful golfer. He seemed a bit sad that he couldn't be playing in the majors this year, and I think you want to mention something in a moment. But so why can't he play in the Masters? Is it all because of the World Golf rankings or something? Is that because it's controlled by the USPGA?
100%. I don't know whether the USPGA controls the World Golf rankings. I think that's a task for the analysts to dive into and understand what's going on there. But essentially, you're right in terms of what's denying players or on the LIV Tour access to some of, not all of, the majors is, their ranking, which will steadily decline or in some instance may not even have one if they're just starting out their career on the LIV circuit. But we'll certainly, something needs to happen there, and that's probably one of the things that the PGA is holding on to. And I don't know whether the romance of the majors will remain in terms of, the prestige and the judgment. We may well be moving towards an era where, Insta followers and zeros in your bank account become, a higher judge of how successful your career was. But Damo, I saw you got something you want to say?
Yeah. I've got a feeling, and I could well be wrong here, but the US Masters, I think, is invitation only. So you get it. So often golfers talk about the fact they receive the letter. So whereas the other majors are definitely based around qualification. I mean, the British Open, as we know, has a really comprehensive qualifying. They play qualifying rounds in golf courses.
You're right.
So that's a process. I don't know. The USPGA has always been the major of US professional golfers from the association. So I don't know. Interestingly, I wonder now if LIV golfers have effectively lost their membership to the PGA. That'd be interesting. I don't know if that is perhaps a factor. US Open's the same as the British Open, isn't it? The US Open's the same as the British Open, I think, in the sense that there is qualification for it. But then last year, several LIV golfers were invited to the Masters, weren't they? I think Dustin Johnson was there. Is that right?
A lot of them have exemptions, and Augusta is Augusta. It's a rule to its own. It's its own fiefdom. It makes its own rules, and it's going to do what it wants to do. So, I suppose one of the things there that's open really is these majors are commercial enterprises in their own right. And if they aren't able to field a quality field that people want to watch on TV or turn up, it is certainly within their right to increase the number of exemptions that they have and can look to provide those exemptions to LIV players. But yeah, anyway, Ash.
Yeah, great segue into the next point I wanted to touch on. I work in the television industry and look at ratings in Australia, but you were talking about the LIV ratings this week, Chris.
Yeah, it was an interesting weekend in terms of LIV and the PGA both having, I guess you would call, signature events, LIV being the first, event of the season, and the PGA being at Pebble Beach, a historic course and event. Mother Nature conspired to prevent the PGA concluding on the Sunday, which meant LIV were able to proceed unopposed and were able to, I guess, gain some traction and gain some additional eyeballs that perhaps they would not have had Pebble Beach concluded on the Sunday. They were reasonably happy with, the outcome in terms of ratings. I believe it was the highest that they had ever have. I'm sure it's still their highest is a lot lower than the PGA, but it certainly allowed an opportunity for those who may not have seen the LIV product to get access. And certainly they put on a show with Nieneman coming through on a 4-hole playoff. I don't know if you saw the imagery, but it was quite funny in terms of they're almost playing, in darkness and converting the scoreboard into an additional floodlight, turning all the LEDs white so that it could provide some light to the final green, or the green that they were using for the playoff. So they had their moment in the sun. They were able to put on a good product, a good show. So hopefully that may lead to a bit of an uptick for them.
I reckon it was great to watch. Loved it. The four-hole playoffs. Sergio Garcia, love him too. He just hit a wayward drive or two in the playoffs there. I also saw something at the PGA that I've got to laugh. I've got it on the screen here. I'm going to play it. Tom Brady teeing off.
Yes.
I'm just going to watch this as we look at it.
He's human.
The look on his face when he missed that.
He's very human.
That's it. That would have been on the tee at Pro-Am, right? Imagine that. Can you imagine sitting there teeing off?
I've hit some really, really terrible tee shots, and acknowledged last week that I actually missed the ball for the first time in my life last week. But I didn't know if I've teed off as bad as that before.
Yeah,
so
I did that on the weekend, funny enough.
Isn't it amazing the great level that golf is? My little bit of news, I think, just wanted to share is
man, go for
it. Coletta, who won the Victorian Open, fantastic final round, 65, down at 13th Beach, down in Victoria. So that was nice to see the Aussie PGA back on KO, and a lovely course down there. We look forward to playing that soon. Hopefully, we'll get some listeners one day from down there who will give us some free rounds at 13th
maybe
Beach. But
caddy for us, 13th Beach.
Yes,
I could do with a caddy. Jake McLeod, keep your eyes open. I saw him play his stats come up today. I think he's 3 or 4 under for today as well.
Awesome.
Chris, I've sort of gone off tangent here, but you're heading out to Castle Hill Country Club this weekend, I believe. The WebEx on.
Yeah, they've got the fourth of 5 WebEx Player Series events out at Castle Hill. So it's a 5-minute drive away. Why not go have a look? I guess one of the things that I've really enjoyed about watching the WebEx series is the fact that it's, if you wanted to say inclusive when it comes to golf, it's in terms of having male and female professionals, elite amateurs, and all abilities golfers all in the same field and playing for the same prize money and trophy. I think that's a great initiative by the Australasian PGA, and certainly looking to get out there. One interesting fact that I just wanted to throw out there, without notice, gentlemen, is that who is in relation to the country club itself. Would you believe it hosted the 1985 Australian PGA? And in terms of who won that, is the unofficial club patron of ECG Golf Club. Who do you reckon that was?
Shark won it there in
Shark won it.
Man, that's right. So there's a bit of history there. Yeah, I'll be walking in the Sharks footsteps on Sunday when I'm out there for the final round.
That's amazing. I can remember following. I think in the mid-90s there might have been a couple of tournaments at Castle Country Club as well.
Yeah, the Cannon, whatever it was, the Cannon Challenge was there back in the peak days of the Australian PGA.
Summer of
that, plus the peak days of Canon marketing.
Oh, yeah. Everywhere. When anytime they had a new photocopy to launch, it was
this one Staples and collates.
it was pride of place near the first tee, but I can remember following Peter Lonard around.
Yes.
I used to love
who
Peter.
Who was the Australian professional from Castle Hill at the time? It wasn't Peter Lonard. Was it Craig?
Maybe Paul Gow, was it?
Paul Gow? Paul Gow.
Or Craig Parry?
Craig Parry? Was he the guy that they used to call Popeye because he had massive forearms?
Great golfer. Won an event on the USPGA, I think. Let me check that while we're talking, but I believe he did. If he didn't, he got very close.
But he should have.
Yes. Underrated.
Hey,
probably up there with David Graham in terms of underrated, little known, little respected achievers in America. David Graham, of course, won maybe two majors, and does have a fantastic putt facility in Port Stephens.
Chris, over to you.
I guess just rounding up the news desk, we've touched on LIV. Perhaps we'll just turn our attention back to Pebble Beach and just the outcomes there and some of the talking points that came out of that. As mentioned earlier on, the event was cut short to 3 rounds or 54 holes. As you're all aware, it was a signature event, so there was no cut. So it was a field of 80 playing over 54 holes. Lo and behold, those are the kind of conditions that prevented LIV Tour from being able to obtain world golf ranking points. But there was no suspension of points for this tournament. They were freely granted, and it certainly saw
absolute hypocrisy.
Saw the winner move up in world rankings. So, I think you've both voiced what you think about that. But I think
that was absolutely yes.
Yeah,
it's not.
But
sorry to interrupt you there.
There were probably 2 talking points I wanted to touch on, and I'll touch on the first one. Obviously, like you were probably fixed to your screen on Sunday morning as Wyndham Clark was having the round of his life, shooting a 59 at Pebble Beach, so going on the honour board as holding the course record. I don't know if you saw some of the photos of him holding his scorecard that were published on social media, but there was one interesting element on that scorecard, a nice little yellow sticker, which indicated that the round allowed lift, clear and replace and preferred lies. So just throwing it out to you, Damo, do you think that there should be an asterisk on this 59, or do you think it's well earned and should stand the test of time as the record on the course?
Well, I'll be very keen to hear what my brother's got to say about this as well, Ash, but no, that's not a course record. If you're lifting, cleaning and placing the ball, in fact, I'm surprised they even awarded it as a course record, because I'm pretty sure if we went and played at Linwood tomorrow, not that we would ever shoot a course record, but not even close, but I'm pretty sure the pro round, no, I don't believe that'd be counted. So no, I can't. I'll say no, that's not a legitimate course record. When you're lifting, cleaning and placing, so you're not playing the ball where it lies, no. For me, that's a no.
I'd like to second that. It's a no for me as well. I think that sticker, that massive fluorescent green sticker on his scorecard says it all. That's not a record. He played beautifully. Yep, he did. The putting, he putted beautifully on those heavy, thick greens. Absolutely. But yeah, no, it doesn't count. And it's a disgrace, the hypocrisy of this, because it was 54 holes. And like you said, I'm very pro LIV golf. Obviously, I like anything controversial. But I don't think he should be getting. None of them should be getting their points for the world ranking. and that guy didn't get a course record. He won that tournament, okay, but none of it should count, in my opinion. Chris, what do you think?
Tom Brady won't be getting any points.
Chris?
No, I don't. Look, having seen the conditions and the wind and the rain and yes, there was some water on the greens to allow for for some reasonable play in light of what Mother Nature threw. I'm probably going to go on the side of Wyndham on this one and award him the course record.
Like it.
And just finally on the news desk as a result of the outcome of Pebble Beach not being the fourth round, which would have been an absolute classic finish. Looking at that leaderboard at the conclusion of the third round, one of the interesting takeaways was in relation to Ludwig Aberg.
Nice.
And just his meteoric rise over the last, call it 6 months. Would you believe he is one of the fastest players to reach at least number 11 in the world after turning pro?
No,
Ludwig, after 18 events, has reached 11th in the world golf rankings.
Wow.
And in terms of the only player ahead of him is Tiger Woods, and that took 17 events, which obviously he ended up a little higher at number 3 and was number 1 in a couple of months after that. But just the fact that Ludwig's being talked about in the same rarefied air as Tiger and the wins that he's had on the PGA Tour and DP World Tour and just his consistency, I kind of think that the 24-year-old, given some of the age of some of the, players at the moment that are the marquee names, I think he could be the face of golf in a couple of years' time. Your thoughts, Aspen, on that?
Couldn't agree more. Ryder Cup, he's played Ryder Cup already.
That's right.
Without playing a major.
Yeah. I think I really like that you brought him up. That's something to look at and to look forward to. And that's something I enjoy with a lot of these telecasts at the moment. There's such a plethora of golf to watch on KO or Foxtel or whatever you watch it on. You can really find these little niches and go along with it. On that note, boys, I want to get you into the fantasy golf. I've been doing the DP World Fantasy Golf for about since about October last year, having a blast with it. My results last week, I've been cleaning up. Xander Lombard's been a tank for me. He's like last week he got 360 points. I have him as my captain and captain against double points. So he came tied for second, 360 points. Rasmus Højgaard got 151 points for me, who tied for 8. Yannick Paul, the German, 2 under, 112 points. David Micheluzzi, I mentioned this last week.
Go the Aussie.
Yeah, mate. He tied for 16th in Bahrain and got us 127 points. Callum Shinkwin was a bit of a loss for me. I saw his name rock up the week prior, so I thought I'd give him a go. He failed, he missed a cut. And Jordan Smith got 99 points from England. I want you guys to get on that. It's a lot of fun. It's something to do Monday morning when you have a cup of coffee, getting ready for work. I do the live golf as well and the PGA Tour, but the DP is my favourite. Chris?
So question for you. How does the scoring work? I'm familiar with fantasy sports. I know how baseball, NBA, NFL kind of work. Just briefly, just so that we can inform our listeners, how it all works.
As always, I'm going to come across as an absolute dumbass. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. You must get points for birdie, for par, maybe very similar to Stableford, I'm guessing. Sorry, I embarrassed myself there. I don't know the actual answer to that. But,
Wyndham Park would be, after he's 59, would have been.
Well, he only played 54 holes, though, Dame, so he wouldn't have showed up.
Oh, good point.
Boom. This week I've got in Doha, I've got Xander Lombard again. Apparently he's 1 under par at the moment. David Micheluzzi is currently 3 over in Doha. Rasmus Højgaard's par. I've got Nakajima in there. He's playing at par at the moment. Fitzpatrick from England's 1 under. and Sebastian Soderberg's 1 under. So they're my guys this week in the DP World Fantasy. Damo Griffiths, the president's got something to say.
A couple of things. Is Mr. Nakajima related to Tommy from the
You'd have to be
70s, 80s?
Tommy Nakajima.
In fact, one of the few, maybe the first Japanese golfer to lead the British Open. I don't know if I've got that right. The Mr. Craig Parry.
Yes. Popeye.
Popeye, correct. This is a very impressive career record and would put him in the elite of Australian golf. So he gets a Mr. moniker. I think we should call him Mr. Parry.
Mr. Parry.
Won on the PGA Tour twice.
Okay.
So, hey, that puts him in Jeff Ogilvy territory, I would believe. 6 times on the European Tour.
What?
So I think that would make him more than Wayne Riley, I reckon. Won twice on the Japanese Golf Tour, won once on the Asian Tour. Look out, 12 times on the Australian PGA Tour. I think he was an Australian Masters bully after the Shark. He was he would have maybe challenged the Shark on a couple of occasions as well, and managed to secure himself a yellow jacket. His major performances actually shouldn't be. He did tie 3rd in the US Open in 1993, and had a 4th at the British Open at the Open in 1999. So Mr. Craig Parry, that's someone we can acknowledge as a great Australian golfer, and perhaps that'll be a new segment we can have as well. Just little tidbits. Next week I'll review Wayne Riley's record. I think he was a Scottish Open champion, perhaps in a couple.
I would love to know what Craig Parry was like in the change rooms. I know the Shark. The Shark's the patron saint of the ECG. He would have dominated. He's aggressive. He dominates anywhere he is, whether it's in the sheds, at the lunch table, in the dressing rooms. But what about Craig Parry? What would he have been like, I reckon? A bit of a joke teller, or a bit serious? No, he's a bit short.
5'6", apparently, according to Wikipedia. So shorter than I am, but all muscles.
His swing plane on his driver was a bit more like someone like a jump rope. It was very low to the ground.
Very low. Lots of forearm. Lots of forearm. Played it low, I imagine.
I think he would have been a good cricketer. He probably was a decent cricketer.
Yes, I reckon every chance. I think he swung it a bit like Peter Lonard. Peter Lonard was all forearms, but a great Australian golfer. So acknowledge Mr. Craig Parry as probably an under recognised golfer in some ways, underrated.
In some ways.
Definitely
Thanks,
a winner.
Dave.
Sorry about
Love
that.
bringing that up. I want you to do that again next week. I wanted to hear about this Riley. Yeah. Love it. You're listening to the ECG Golf Club Hackers podcast. I'm the Ashman. We've got the club president here with us, Damian Griffiths, and, of course, the analyst and the bursar of the ECG, Christopher Sonigo, is here with us as well. Last week we discussed, or something came up during mid-discussion, an air swing on the golf course.
Yeah.
Does an air swing count as a stroke? And I thought, no, bloody hell, no, not at all. What's the ruling on that? Who knows, Damo?
Well, just to recap before I throw to Chris with the official ruling, I certainly gave myself a penalty. I think I repeated myself 5 or 6 times last week, saying it's the first time I've ever done it. And I think probably saying it so many times made it sound like it perhaps wasn't the first time I've done it. But the truth is, I did because I believed that if you complete a swing, my understanding is if you complete a swing, as in you're attempting to hit the golf ball, so it wasn't like I was standing away from the golf ball practicing. That constitutes a shot. So I did give myself a penalty. I think I'm about to be relieved that I did, but I'll throw over to Chris with the official ruling. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Damo. Yeah, making a stroke's covered under Rule 10.1 of the RNA official rules, so to speak. And my interpretation is that, the S swing is a stroke. In some of the language that's included here, is that a stroke is made by fairly striking at a ball. So it doesn't say that you're making contact. It's just you're striking at the ball. So the act of the swing is the stroke rather than the contact. So that's my interpretation of that.
Very good. Thank you for the clarification. I believe Zach Johnson may have done that in a golf tournament, actually, and I think it's on Instagram somewhere. But
Tom Brady did it as well.
Yeah, that's right. He sure did. He sure did.
Something else that came up last week was we're talking about, that common conversation piece. Who would you have at your dinner table? Who'd you bring to your dinner table, have dinner with you? And you conjure up all these fantastic people that you've never thought about in your life before. But I pose to you and anyone at home, who's in your four ball, including yourself, obviously, who are three others that you would have in your foursome? The rules are you have to have a professional golfer, you have to have a female, and that's the only two real rules. I'm going to kick it off, boys. Patron saint of the ECG Golf Club, Greg Norman. Greg Norman's my first choice.
Sure.
Over to you, Damian.
And I've got a proposal for you gentlemen and for listeners. In future episodes, we have four ball, say the NRL four ball, or the English
Master Chef, the celebrity
Master
chef four ball.
Yes, the Kardashian four ball, the movie star four ball. But I love this idea of starting big. Look, I'm like I said last week, I'm keen on the conversation. So I'm not necessarily, but my first pick as in terms of golfer, Jason Day. I like Jason Day. I like Jason.
Yeah.
Over to you, Chris.
Yeah, I was tossing this one up around a few, but ended up settling on Nelly Corder as my professional.
Yes, you are a
big fan. And certainly I think she would be, just seeing her interactions on some social media, I think she'd be a fun person to have around with.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. I like that. I might cap off the other two people.
You didn't say Trish Fallon.
We haven't got there yet. You still got a
haven't
spot.
got to the female.
Oh,
still got a spot. Sorry. Hey, I'm gonna cap off my other two. So I've got Greg Norman. I've got Russell Crowe, big Rusty legend. Yeah. I've got Russell Crowe, Greg Norman. Think of that. Think of the conversation there. And then my female would be Jenner, the man that turned woman. What's his name?
Jenner. Okay.
The
Kardashian father.
Yeah, that guy.
The former
that lady.
Decathlon.
Yes.
Gold medalist.
And the reason being, he's a female, she's a female, and a good athlete. Kris Jenner. So I've got Greg Norman, Russell Crowe, Kris Jenner, Ash Griffiths. I'll take you on. Who you got, Dave?
Caitlyn Jenner now. But,
Caitlyn Jenner, thank you.
Caitlyn Jenner. Very well done.
Damien?
That is a very interesting football. Very interesting.
Who you got, Dave?
Mine. So I've obviously got Jason Day, hopefully giving me some tips on my short game as we're playing. I've got
and not using that one iron out of the bushes.
No, that's right. And hopefully 2 hands on the club would be a start. I've got Barack Obama. I want to play golf with him. He does play golf too, I think. And he has an interesting backstory. I think he enjoyed his time in Hawaii growing up. So it'd be good to share some of those stories with him back in the day. And look, I'd love to play with my partner, Alison, as the 4-ball.
Oh,
hey?
Bloody hell. You're getting points there.
Hey?
Beautiful, beautiful answer. Chris,
over you, Chris.
So I'm left with a female and a wild card, I suppose, is what you'd call the third category.
Yep.
If I go the wild card, I'm looking for someone for a conversation, someone I can talk sports with, and someone who I can whinge about things with. So I'm going to go Tony Kornheiser of PTI and ESPN fame. So he's an avid golfer, so I'd like to see him out on the course with myself and Nelly. And then in terms of female, I think I would probably pick Paige Spiranek just another female
Holy
golfer.
moly.
And I think that'd be a nice way to end the foursome.
Are you teeing off from the red tees then, are you?
Oh, look, I'm all for making golf easier, and if it needs to be red tees, so be it.
You know, there's something that I love Bryson DeChambeau, one of my favorites. Obviously, I'm the love controversial characters, but you're cracking up down there, Dave.
No. Just frog in my throat.
Frog in your throat. I totally lost my train of thought. Bryson DeChambeau, he said something on a YouTube show that I watched. He said, if you really want to start learning how to shoot par, shoot off the red tees.
Yeah, nice.
And I was thinking about that when I went to Palmer this weekend. I thought, if I shot off the red tees, it would make absolutely no difference. How are you expected to make par from 20 meters ahead? He's playing in a totally different world. Chris?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Bryson. Like as I said, I played it at the Ridge on Sunday and played off social tees. So not off
much shorter.
So not off, blues or men's or championship or however you want to say it. But not a little bit of a humble brag. It certainly made things a bit easier, and it was slow going, but I was able to shoot 8 over on 8 hole, through 8 holes, and managed to bag myself a birdie, which was the first time in a long time. So I think teeing off on the shorter tees does make a difference, and I agree with Bryson on this one.
Nice. I want to try it, but I don't want anyone to see me do it. Basically. Thanks for listening. You're listening to the ECG Golf Club Hackers podcast. We've got Damian Griffiths and Chris Sonigo with me, Ashman. I wanted to talk about something that gets under my goat. I honestly, boys, and anyone at home thinking the same, please write into our email, ecghackers@gmail. I feel like golf etiquette has gone. It's disappeared. There's no more golf etiquette shown on the golf course anymore. I was born in 1973, started playing golf in about 1981, 82. Through those 80s and 90s, there's always golf etiquette. There was always, you never step in the line of the opponent's putter or their putting line. Yeah. If you're on a par 3, you always call up the group behind you. If someone's playing faster than you, call them through. So basically, I feel like there's no such thing as golf etiquette anymore. I'm not a stickler for it, but some things do get under my skin a little bit.
It's frustrating.
It is a bit, because I love to go on the golf course and just, it's a pure relaxation and enjoyment. One thing that happened to me on the weekend, and my brother Randall told me when he was in the States, he came across a lot of this when he's playing over there. A lot of loud music played on the golf course. So the golf cart's going around, they've got those big Bluetooth speakers, and they're just pumping like Wu-Tang Clan and stuff like that.
No.
I'm a musician too, so I love music, but on the golf course, boys, discuss.
No way. No? Music is a no go on golf courses.
So
I'm like you, Ash. I'm very much a traditionalist when it comes to my sport, and a good example of that, the comparison I can give, and I'm quite proud to say this actually. I did not watch one delivery of the Big Bash cricket this season. Not one ball. Not one ball. Yeah. Because I am Test cricket and a bit of one-day internationals one-day World Cup.
Yep.
So I know if I wanted to watch baseball, I'd tune in on KO. So I'm with you. So I'm showing my age here because I'm not hopping on the Big Bash bandwagon, and that means I'm probably losing my connection to cricket, sadly. And I recognise that it's something I need to, if I'm not going to hop on the Big Bash, I'm probably not watching much cricket. But that's my comparison. So I'm a bit the same with golf. The one calling on, can live in whatever. The one that I do like, I am a stickler for, and you already mentioned it, is don't walk across people's line putting. That's cool. Probably the one that I think.
Well, let me get a vote, Dame. So we'll just go around the grounds on the first point. Loud music coming from golf caddies, yes or no? I'm no. You're no. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'm a no. There's places for that, and they're either, you know, par 3 courses, or, you know, chip and putt courses where where it's, you know, a different kind of golf, and it's a bit more tailored towards that party atmosphere.
Love it. Great, great answer.
The only music that's relevant to golf is classical music, I think. So I'm getting
like Powderfinger?
The kind of US Masters music as you go
John
down
Williams sort of stuff.
That kind of stuff. That's okay, but they don't do that on the golf course, obviously.
No.
But no, Wu-Tang Clan? No.
Yeah, no. Okay. All right, next point. I was playing with 2 Irish lads who I could hardly understand on the weekend. And we were behind a group of 4, and they were terribly slow. I mean, a round of golf took 4.5 hours, and for me, that's a long time. I'm used to about 3.5 hours golf. So 4.5 hours. Anyway, on the par 3s, every single par 3.
I guess when you only hit it 84 times, it does go a bit quicker, doesn't it?
And you're not fishing them out of the pond and stuff does help.
Yeah.
But every par 3, sitting there waiting for these guys to putt it out, marking the balls and taking forever, and never once turning around to call us on. I remember there was a rule: call up every player on a par 3. Are you aware of this? Remember that rule? Like the etiquette, you get on the green. Once you're all on the green, you call up the following group. That doesn't happen anymore. What happened to it? Gone?
Yeah, I think it's gone, and there is an unofficial sort of. I don't know if it's official policy actually, as in Australian PGA policy, but there's a lot of talk of ready golf. Where you've got to play. So that's become a language that I've noticed is ready golf. So whoever's ready to tee off, I don't mind that aspect, to be honest with you. If I can say that, but it does. The calling on a par 3, I haven't seen that happen for a long time. It's quite frustrating.
Chris?
Yeah, I think one of the other things too that's led to that is just been the rule change around being able to putt with the flag stick in. You know, I'm used to using and having used the flag stick out as meaning that the group ahead is still on the green putting and are yet to finish the hole. And as soon as that flag stick goes in, they're moving on, and it's fair game for us to start. So that's one thing that I've noticed, you know, of late.
Great point, Chris. I actually am a flag stick in guy. I love the flag stick in. Okay. Are you a flag in or out, Damian?
That's a really good question. Yeah, a lot of the time I'm flag in. What I worry about though sometimes when the flag's in is that I'm playing too quick. And I need to be really slow around the greens, because of not just because of the number of shots I take around the green, but having the flag in makes me feel like I've got to keep moving and catch up with everyone.
Okay, Chris, I've seen you putt with the flag in.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. If you can leave it in, it just, you know, potentially can speed things up, as we've touched on. But you know, one of the things that you can do to improve your putting is actually walk out your putt, remove the flag, and immediately you've got an understanding of your yardage, which surely has got to lead to a few percentage points improvements of putt completion. So we're probably all doing ourselves a disservice by leaving the flag in.
Nice, good point. Parking the buggy in front of the green. What the hell's going on there? Like I thought it was an unwritten rule. You don't park or leave your clubs in front of the green. But I more often than not see guys in front of me parking in front of the green. And then the other thing that really pisses me off is once they've all putted out, they stand at their bloody buggy or cart and do the scoring while in front of the green while I'm standing there waiting to hit it. It's like, move on. I say move on.
Next tee is where you do that.
Yeah, that's right.
They're annoying. They're definitely annoying. I guess they're especially annoying again for you, Ash, because you're probably going to reach the green. So for me,
oh no, Come on.
it's not really a target. So, like, I'm not going to hit him anyway. So, no. I'm only joking. Well, no.
No, not at all, Dame. You hit. I was on the course the other day. That 3-wood you hit on the 17th or the 18th at Southport up onto that elevated green. Do you remember that?
That was a nice
In
one.
a 2-ball. Dude,
Yes.
you melted that. Don't sell yourself short. That was cool. Anything to add to that, boys, or we move on? You cool with that?
Do you have a new rule to introduce for this week?
Love it.
Just clarification, though. I mean, I'm certain that this has changed. I remember once upon a time it was a penalty stroke if you hit the ball twice. And I'm amazed. Any listeners out there, you'll never see someone that hits the ball twice as often as I do. I've done it so many times. It's kind of extraordinary, which must be something to do with decelerating, I assume. But anyway, I believe that rule has now changed where you can hit the ball twice. The only thing is,
Chris would know.
What happens if you hit the ball twice and it went in the hole, say?
Chris?
Is it your good fortune, I suppose?
It's again covered around the same area in terms of Rule 10, Damo. And for clarification, in 10.1a, if the players' club accidentally hits the ball more than once, there has only been one stroke and there is no penalty. So it's
thanks for
clearly indicated there.
Really
beautiful. The analyst comes through the goods. Comes through the goods again. That actually happened to me quite a bit. I used to play with a lob wedge. I was one of the first to convert to lob wedges in the mid-90s. And I have a 64-degree Dynacast lob wedge, which I used to use a lot. And because that was such a high loft, I used to hit it twice quite a bit with that too, because you'd hit it underneath and then with the follow-through too. So thanks for clarifying that one, man. That's good to know.
As long as you're not doing it with your driver.
That's right.
With your driver. I don't know. There's something weird going on. Oh, how would that work?
Oh, maybe if you got right underneath and it went. Well, actually, you could get right underneath it and sort of lift it up, and then wait for it to come down, then hit it again.
Oh, then hit a home run. Or I suppose technically, maybe, and I've done this before, hit the ladies' tee in front of you and have the ball ricochet back at you.
Yes.
Then have another go. That'd be a good trick shot.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So we'll move on to the next stage where we're kind of yabbering a lot, which is great, and it's really good to catch up with you too. The Been There, Hacked That is, we talk about each week about a golf course or a golf place that we've been to quite a bit, and we've been there and we've hacked that. I thought this week we might open it up instead of being a course, we might talk about like a driving range. Nice. What driving range you have called home or are most comfortable at. If I may start, I'll say that I used to go to the Dural driving range in Sydney's Northwest. Used to go there 3 or 4 times a week.
Absolutely.
This is mid to late 90s. I'm not sure if it's still there. You guys live down that way. I live on the Gold Coast.
Still there.
Still there? I used to love that place, and I really learnt how to drive the ball there. And so I'd love to go and visit there again. But lately, I'm using the Glades golf course here on the Gold Coast. They've got a lovely driving range. It's grass. They don't have mats. It's a Greg Norman designed golf course, so it's got great amenities. It's a beautiful golf course. And there's a great little chipping green that I've spent a couple of hours on the weekend using my chipper and putter there. So that's currently where I am at, the Glades driving range. Chris, what about you, mate?
I spend time between two. So the main place where I practice is probably Thornley driving range.
Thornley driving range. Near the brick pit.
That's near the brick pit at Thornley.
Is that where it is? The brick pit?
Yeah. It's a lovely 2-tiered facility. Recently been upgraded so that each bay has TrackMan. So certainly getting all the data you will ever need.
2 tiers? Do you like 2 tiers?
I obviously prefer hitting off the ground.
Only when he's telling poetry. Only when he's talking poetry.
But to be honest,
is that TEARS or TIE? How do you spell? I think it's TIERS, isn't it? In this instance?
Yeah, it's TIER. Sorry, my bad.
Yep.
Carry on, Chris.
Number of people have fallen off the top.
Yes.
Actually,
No,
Chris, if you check out the at ECG Hackers Instagram page, that actually happened to one of our ECG Golf Club members this week. So if you check out the Instagram, you'll see that happen. Yes, correct.
Oh my God. What
I'm
happened?
glad you're on the socials, Dame. Watch it.
What happened? What happened?
Well,
Did
one of
Randy-
our Isaac was at the driving range,
did he
and
do?
it was a 2-tier driving range, and someone up the top has fallen off into the netting
Oh
up
my
the top
God.
there, and she couldn't get out of the netting up the top.
Oh my God, this happens, does it?
It does happen.
Yeah.
So follow us on Instagram, Dave, at ECG Hackers.
Yeah, I better do
and
that.
you'll check that out. Yeah. Chris, you're Thornley. Damo, where are you currently doing that at?
I've frequented Thornley a couple of times, but most recently to play putt. So I haven't necessarily tried to wield the willow, but wield the metal there. One of the most interesting driving ranges I've ever been to is the one near Sydney Airport, where you hit towards shipping containers. So that one's quite interesting to have a hit at. But I don't like driving ranges. Can I admit something here? Because I only like playing the real game.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like that. I was like that with cricket, rugby, everything. I don't like training, which is bad, which is really bad. I don't like training and I don't like practicing. So for me, driving ranges, no, they frustrate me because I want to play the real thing.
Right. Chris?
Not helpful.
My only comment to that, Damo, is grass driving ranges are as close to the real thing as you can. And make sure you can find one of those. And I think it's completely different practicing off grass rather than off a mat. The mat has a natural bounce that's a little forgiving, I reckon. And get out there, get to a grass driving range.
Thank you, Chris. That's what my problem is. Thank you.
Damian does all his training and practice on the tee. Really put your pressure on. First tee. I'm going to try something new here.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I get it in my head and away we go.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. A couple of things I wanted to mention. I, by no means are these paid endorsements or anything, but I got this really good little golf rule book off Amazon. It's a little handheld thing to go in the golf bag. Check it out. It was like $20. It's not the full thing that Chris has got with all the rules, but I found that quite handy. Expert Golf, it's called.
So it's not the Royal Nations. It's like
it's a cheap.
Is that the cheap?
But there's 2.5 million copies sold, so he's doing all right. And he's got these 2 gold little badges on his thing, so he's doing all right. Something else. Hey, I found this awesome golf glove. It's by a company which has a funny name called Zero Friction. Funny name, but the golf glove, it's a one-size-fits-all. It's made of really stretchy material, but it's got leather on the hand. Super comfortable.
Looks good. Then maybe they're a subsidiary of Skins.
Maybe. Maybe they're from America. As in Skins, the brand.
Yeah, remember Skins was a big thing. It was a really big 90s thing.
Compression stuff.
Steve Waugh was a Skins man. Remember the tights, the
people still wear plenty of compression still around, Damo.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Nice. God, I'm showing my
age. If you got out to the driving range every now and then, you'd probably bloody see it. Yeah, cool. So Zero Friction, check them out. I really like that. Something else I really want to talk about. Back in the day, using coloured balls was always a bit frowned upon. Getting those, busting out those fluoro yellow or fluoro orange balls was a little bit like, oh, look at this guy. But things have changed a lot. I wanted to go around the grounds. 2 things. Coloured balls, yes or no? I'll start off by saying yes, acceptable and enjoyable. Damo, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, I don't personally use them. I don't. Doesn't worry me if someone else does. I guess one of the things that's kind of odd about coloured balls is we kind of have to honour top flight as the innovators in coloured balls.
Top
I think Top Flight was the first to go orange, and I think even pink. And they hardly be recognised as innovators in in other ways, but they were certainly the first to allow coloured balls. But no, I don't use them myself, but I'm not bothered by someone using them.
No, not at all.
I don't. I'm a traditionalist, so I don't want too many markings on it. I'm a white ball, it's golf, but that's me. I'm just showing my age, I think.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? Coloured balls, yes or no?
Yes, I play a coloured ball. I
Nice.
play an orange ball. For whatever reason, I don't know, I've gravitated towards it, trying to perhaps have some individualism on the course. And have my ball stand out from others, particularly within the foursome that I'm playing in. I certainly don't think it helps you find the ball on the course necessarily any easier if it's in bushes, which is perhaps one of the selling points. But to be fair, you can get Pro V1s in a day-glow yellow these days. So if Pro Vs are in a colour, then clearly I think the broader golf community is all okay with the coloured ball.
Acceptable. Nice. I actually
use them on the professional tour.
Yes, of course you can. Yes, the ball's just got to be compliant, and that's fine. There's a ball I started using last year, the Shrixon Divide, which has one half yellow, the other half's orange or blue. They changed the whole game for me. I gave them a go, and the feel of those Shrixon balls, the matte balls, felt so good. So another thing, I'm a big fan of the matte golf balls. I feel like when I'm addressing them, there's not so much shine coming off the ball. And I mean, I have double vision, so anything a bit shiny gets a bit weird in my eyes. So the matte ball, I feel, is great at address. Have you played with the matte ball, and what did you think? I loved it.
No, I can't say I have. I mean, I'm still using. I probably buy based on price. So, so I'm a wicked rotator of brands. I would love to settle on a ball and stay with it. I have this logic. I don't know if I've shared this before, but this logic, and maybe shows how weirdly my mind works. But I figure if I use Mizuno clubs, why shouldn't I be using Mizuno balls? Because when they made the clubs, wouldn't they have been testing with Mizuno balls?
Yeah.
So I need to, and I have found Mizuno balls online, and they were good balls. So I need to go back to being all Mizuno.
Nice. Chris?
Haven't played with a matte ball, but no objections from my end.
Yeah, nice. Try the matte golf balls. I want to know what you think. Awesome. Nice. I enjoyed that. That was good. All right. I got a couple of letters sent in this week via the email. Now, the email address is at ecghackers@gmail.com. Should I read them out? One of them's a bit long. Should I read them out? Is that all right?
It's amazing to think someone listens to this.
Yeah, it's written to the president. So this is to you, Dame. Hopefully my reading's okay. It says, there's a bloke at our club renowned for his... What was that? What was that, Dave? I'm a double vision.
Double vision's going tonight.
Yeah, got my glasses on. It's matte. The paper's matte. There's a bloke at our club renowned for his bad temper on the golf course.
Yep.
He's a regular club snapper. He's a he's a club snapper. He's a regular club snapper. He's been pulled up a few times in the committee for his bad language on the course. Right. Last year's club championships in 2023, he had a 3-foot putt to make to force a playoff. There was a decent crowd watching. There was about 40-odd members on the clubhouse veranda watching. When he putted, the ball lipped and came back around to him, so he lost by a hole. So what he did, he stormed over to his bag, he picked it up and he threw it rather impressively into the middle of the greenside water hazard. You could see the bag slowly taking on water and disappearing into the muck. There's so many... Trevor's words, just fitting into the muck. And there's so many watching on as he totally melted down and he stormed off. So he stamped off towards the car park And then everyone's obviously talking about it. And he comes back a couple of minutes later. So he stormed off. He's coming back. And everyone's like, oh, hang on, here comes Frank or whatever his name is. So everyone watched on as the club as he went into the pond. So he walked into the pond to get his freaking wallet and keys out, left his bag there, and went back to the car.
Oh, because he's gone to the car park without his keys.
Oh, shit, I can't get out of here. So he went back in to pick him up. That's a great story from Trevor from Mungery Park.
That's a fantastic story. Geez, that takes some imagination. Oh, that's
brilliant. So another one to the president. This is to Damo as well. This is a little bit controversial, but this is not my words. He was watching on as a guy hits a low hooking driver off the tee, and he hits a goose square in the head about 40 meters away. So duck hook, literally a duck hook into a goose 40 meters away. There's a couple of people watching, a couple of groups watching. As he stepped over to the goose, it was obviously making a lot of noise. He stepped on its neck and smashed it in the head with the driver. All the while the other goose are attacking him because he's trying to put it out of his misery. So he does it, cleans his club with his towel and his bag. And there's a few feathers flying around at this time. Walks over his ball, hits his next shot. And these guys just rode in, so they were watching it and they just didn't know what to do. So they picked up the goose and put it in the bin and then called the pro shop. So that's what we've got. One more from OK Hedgehog. OK Hedgehog says, saw a big guy smoking a cigar, and as he bent down to check and see if it was his ball, so he's obviously got a big stoogie, bent down to see if he's checking if it was his ball, see if it was on the sprinkler head. As he bent over to have a look, the sprinklers turned on and smashed him in the face with the sprinkler as it's turned on. Ah, dear. Anyway, isn't that great? Thank you for writing in. Thank you for writing in.
Oh, God, it's amazing some of the things you have on a golf course, Ash.
Oh, absolutely. If you've got any funny stories, please send them in at it's ecghackers@gmail.com. Join on Twitter at ecghackers as well. Sorry, Dave.
It's going to be hard to top those.
Very hard.
Very hard.
Yeah.
This week in golf, boys, what do we got? I'm going to tell you who I've got on my fantasy for DP World Tour. And by this time next week, I do expect you to have DP fantasy, golf, that is. Here we go. This week, who have I got? We're playing at Doha. I've got Xander Lombard. Yep, Doha.
So it started. The telecast has already started, actually.
Yeah, we're going to go watch it as soon as this podcast is over. Xander Lombard, I've got David Micheluzzi again, Rasmus Hoggard, Nakajima, Alex Fitzpatrick, and Sebastian Soderberg are my picks for this week in the DP World Tour. All right, boys, you're playing golf this week. What's happening?
Not for me. I'll definitely tune into the DP World Tour now for good. Hopefully Adrian Moron will be up there. I don't know if Ryan Fox is playing. He hasn't seemed to have played any DP tournaments here, but he's fine. So I'll definitely watch that. And we've got ran over in America, so I look forward to hearing about what's happening with the PGA. I don't think Tiger's playing this week. Is that right, Chris? I think it's next week.
No,
right?
week after.
Week after. So can't wait to watch Tiger. I find as I get older, I'm really becoming more and more of a Tiger fan. I like him. He owns his stuff. I like him, and he seems to have a really nice relationship with his kids now too, which is nice.
Absolutely. Chris, from my perspective, won't be able to get on the course, but certainly will be doing my best to get out there on Sunday out to Castle Hill Country Club and to see the final rounds and hopefully it's a tight leaderboard and some competitive golf.
And who's the sponsor there again? WebEx?
WebEx, yes.
Right. It's going to be like Zoomed, the tournament, I imagine.
It could be.
And everyone will be saying, mute, you're on mute.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, golfers of all ages, thanks for joining us once again on the ECG Golf Club Hackers Podcast. I'm the Ash Man. We've had Damian Griffiths, the president. We've had the Bursar Zook on this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tune in again next week. If you want to join the conversation, Twitter at ECG Hackers. We've got Instagram at ECG Hackers as well. I'm the Ashman. I'm heading off to the 19th hole. Peace. See you next week, boys.
Good night.